Good morning, everyone. Today we are on the last stage of our bridge course. So it's our fifth day of the bridge course in physics for BSc first year. I welcome you all and I am thankful to everyone for attending the all 4 days with consistency. So myself, Professor Miss Pranuti Ravindra Khawne, Assistant Professor in Physics at Mahatma Phule Arts and Science College, Patur, District Akola. So in the 4 days we have seen first lecture about classical mechanics. In second day we have seen about waves and oscillation. On the third day we have seen about wave optics, and on the fourth day we have seen about wave optics, I think. Okay, so uh, today we are going to teach or going I'm going to teach and you are going to learn about atomic and molecular physics, and which is maybe you will learn all those things in modern physics as a part of modern physics. Okay, so let's begin with our today's topic of atomic and molecular physics. So in the atomic and molecular physics, what we are going to study or what we are going to learn is that what are matters, what is atom, what are the atomic theories, electrons, electricity. This will be our head. Okay, and with these heads we are learning some subtopics. So in this lecture we will discuss few concepts of atomic and molecular physics. So let me clear the basic thing why we are studying from the bottom line, that is what is matters and all. This is because just make sure you are going to build a home, and thus you want your base to be strong so that your home will stand firmly. Okay, so this is the chance to make your basic concepts very clear for your further studies purpose. Okay, so the matter, atoms, atomic theory, electrons, electricity, these all things we have studied or we are studying since our 7th 8th standard or 9th 10th standard. So just revise it and make our concepts clear. So first of all, what is matter? Anything that has mass and takes up some space or occupies some volume is called as matter. So whatever you are seeing around you, this all makes up matter. Your bike, your body, utensils in your home or your instruments, these all are nothing but the examples of matter. But to make a few things clear, we need some examples. So a brick which is used to build the home has a mass, okay, and it occupies some space, so it is called as matter. Then a desk has a mass and it takes up some space, it is also an example of matter. A pencil has mass and it takes up some space. Then a air, it too has a mass and takes up some space. So all these are examples of matter. Then we'll move to atoms. What are atoms? Atoms are nothing but the basic building block for any matter. Okay, so matter is anything that takes up some space and have some mass. This all matter is made up of atom. Okay, so atoms are basic building blocks of the matter. They make up everything around us, your desk, your board, your body, everything is made up of atoms. Okay. Atoms are too small to see without powerful microscopes. Okay, so you can imagine how minute the atom is. Okay, see example of chalk. Okay, uh, if you go on crushing the chalk, you will get a powdered form. Okay, but when it will be in powdered form, it will be difficult for you to separate each of the atom of that powder, right? So they are so small that you cannot see without microscope. Okay, so next, then we are here for atomic theory. So what atomic theory is? As we cannot see the atoms, we use models to teach and learn about atoms. See, those things that we cannot see with naked eyes, we generally suppose the stars and the universe, we cannot see exactly the whole universe with our naked eyes. We need telescopes to make certain observations, right? So so we just think it, or we learn and we make some models to study the sky or the universe. Likewise, if we cannot see the atoms, we have put forth it, or our scientist has put forth some theories, make some models to study the atoms. The atomic theory has changed over times as new technologies have become available. So first of all, the greatest contribution in atomic theory is by Sir John Dalton. So what he said: all matter is made up of atoms. Atoms are too small to see. They are indivisible and indestructible. You cannot divide an atom, and you cannot if you cannot divide the atom, then you cannot so it is indestructible. Okay, all atoms of a given element are identical. See, if we are made up of atoms, then all whole the skin color of our body is same. Okay, it won't be like if you have a fair face and you have a dark hands. It cannot be like that. So it is a great example that all the atoms of the given matter are identical. Okay, so all atoms in a given chemical elements are exactly sorry. So in 1803, John Dalton, his scientist from England, formulated the modern version of atomic theory. In his model, matter is made up of small indivisible particles called atoms. All atoms in a given chemical element are exactly alike, while the atom of different elements differ by atomic weight. Some of different elements differ by atomic weight. Okay, atoms can neither be created nor be destroyed. A chemical reaction is just a simple rearrangement of atoms, and same number of atoms must be present before and after the reaction. Okay, so now here comes atomic theory by Sir J.J. Thomson. What he has done, he has put forth the famous plum pudding model to study the atom. Okay, so he discovered, what is the contribution of Sir J.J. Thomson? He discovered the negative electron and predicted that there also must be positive particle to hold the electrons in place. Okay, means to balance the negative charge, there must be some positively charged atoms should be positively charged entity should be there. Okay, so what this plum pudding model depicts, see, I am elaborating here. See, it consider the atom as a whole, and it is suppose a ball of some positive charge and electrons are embedded in it. Okay, that's all, or that much simple is the atomic theory given by Sir J.J. Thomson. Okay, so what are electrons, or what is electricity? So electrons are the negative charge carrier in shorts. And what is electricity? Electricity was thought of as a stream of these negatively charged particles. Okay, so now we come to the atomic theory by Ernest Rutherford. What has Ernest Rutherford done? You might have studied. It's a cold thin foil experiment. Okay, so what is Rutherford scattering gave us, or what he had done in that scattering experiment? The alpha particles from the radioactive source were allowed to strike a thin gold foil. Okay, alpha particles then produce a tiny but visible flash of light when they strike a fluorescent screen. Okay, surprisingly, alpha particles were found at large deflection angles, and some were even found to be backscattered. Okay, So this experiment showed that the positive matter in atoms was concentrated in an incredibly small volume and gave birth to the idea of the nuclear atom. Means there might be nucleus in that atom, and in so doing it represented one of the great turning points in our understanding of nature. So what he has done, he has bombarded the alpha particles on the thin gold foil, and he has observed that few are diffracted back, few are deflected with large angles. Okay, so all this gave him, or all this told him that uh, there might be the positive charge or positive matter uh, has which has some small volume at the concentrated at the center of the atom, and this gives the idea of the nucleus. Okay, so then comes atomic theory by James Chadwick. What he has done, I, he has discovered nucleons or neutrons. Okay, electrons could never exist in nucleons. It is the most wonderful conclusion from his theory. See, since the time of Rutherford, it had been known that atomic mass number A of nuclei is a bit more than twice the atomic number Z for most atom, and that is essentially all the mass of the atom is concentrated in the relatively tiny nucleus. See, all the mass of the atom is concentrated at the center, and that center is nothing but the nucleus. So as of about 1930, it was presumed that the fundamental particles were protons and electrons. Till the time neutrons was not in picture. Okay, but that required that somehow a number of electrons were bound in the nucleus. See, I am reading, or I am telling once again, but that required that somehow a number of electrons were bound in the nucleus to partially cancel the charge of protons. Okay, means the number of protons and electrons should be same. This lines is meaning like that, but by this time it was known from the modern physics calculation that there just wasn't enough energy available to contain electrons in the nucleus. Means, see, the number of electrons and protons should be same, but electrons cannot be in the nucleus. They can, means that nucleus do not have that much energy to hold all these electrons inside it. Okay, so we'll move to next, atomic theory by Niels Bohr. So he also gave us a model, planet like model. So he concluded that electrons are located in planet like orbits around the nucleus in certain energy levels, like our solar system, sun is at center and all planets are revolving around it. So likewise, um, the nucleus is at center and electrons are revolving around it like the planets. Now, what is stationary states? An atomic system possesses a number of states in which no emission of radiation takes place. Such states are called stationary states. Stationary means still. Okay. So they are not radiating any sort of radiation, or they are not taking part in emission of radiation. Okay. In case of hydrogen atom, each stationary state corresponds to circularly orbiting electrons and nucleus at the center. Then what are allowed stationary states? Only those orbits are possible for which the relation p is equal to n into h upon 2 pi holds good, where p is angular momentum and h is the Planck's constant and n is the principal quantum number. See, I think you have seen the quantum numbers in your 11th or 12th. So we will not discuss here in detail about this. We will study it in due course of time in our course, 3-year course. Okay. So now emission of emitted radiation. So emission of radiation occurs only when electrons jump from one of the allowed states, that is energy level 1 to lower energy level En2, in accordance with the relation h nu is equal to En1 minus En2. So h is again here the Planck's constant, and En1 and En2 are allowed energy states. Okay, so these are the postulates given by Niels Bohr. Then we'll see what are a proton, what are electron, and what are neutron. So we all know the nucleus consists of proton and neutron, and electron revolves around the nucleus. Okay, so what is protons? What are the characteristics of proton? See, they are positively charged particle, right? Then they help make up nucleus of the atom. Then they help identify the atom, that is could be considered an atom's DNA. Okay, so this make sure proton can be considered as an atom's DNA. Then it has equal to the atomic number of the atom. Its number is same as the atomic number of the atom. Then it contribute to the atomic mass. Okay, and equal to the number of electrons. See here in the picture you have seen, see the protons are at the center, and this yellow part is proton we think we have shown here. What it has? It has a positive charge. It is a positively charged particle. So it makes up the nucleus of the atom. Then it helps to identify what is the atom. Then its number means number of protons is exactly equal to the atomic number of the atom. Then it contribute the atomic mass, and its number is exactly equal to the number of electrons. Okay, then move to neutrons. See again in the picture, I will enlarge the picture. The reddish particle may be neutron we can consider, but see you cannot see any charge over this neutron, right? So what are the neutrons then? Neutrons are neutral particles. Okay, they do not have any electric charge. Proton have positive charge, electron have negative charge, and neutron do not have any charge. So it also makes up the nucleus of the atom. Likewise proton, it also makes up the nucleus of the atom, and it contribute to the atomic mass of the atom. Likewise proton, it also contribute to the atomic mass of the atom. See, we have seen in the Rutherford's theory that the whole mass of the atom is supposed to be concentrated at the center, and it is nothing but a nucleus. So the nucleus is made up of, or the atomic mass is made up of proton and neutron of the atom. Okay, so we'll move to next. Then comes electrons. See, we have seen the Niels Bohr's planetorial model, and likewise see here in the middle the nucleus is there with red and yellow balls, and some blue ball like structure is orbiting around this middle structure. Okay, so this bluish structure is nothing but the electron, and it has negative charge. So we'll see information about electrons. What are electrons? Electrons are negatively charged particles, and they found outside the nucleus of the atom, right? They are not present in the nucleus. So in the electron orbits or level, or each orbit or level can hold maximum number of electrons. Each orbit have a particular capacity of holding electrons. Like first orbit can hold 2 electrons, second can hold 8, third can hold 18, etc., and so on. Like so move too rapidly around the nucleus that they create an electron cloud. Means they are continuously orbiting around the nucleus. Okay, then mass is insignificant when compared to proton and neutron. Okay, mass is insignificant when compared to proton and neutron. Means they have very low mass, right? Then their numbers are equal to the number of protons, and they are involved in the formation of chemical bonds. So electron, we have seen yesterday that electrons in semiconductor sorry, we have seen yesterday semiconductor devices and all, and there we have seen some electrons taking part in conduction. So now this concept is also here. They are involved in the formation of chemical bonds. Means in conduction purpose, electrons are playing major role, and so they are orbiting around the nucleus and they are not a part of nucleus. So many a times people will ask you a question, what is the number of electrons in the nucleus? So surely your answer should be 0, because no nucleus can contain the electron. Okay, so that's all about our today's topic, atomic and nuclear physics. So we'll once revise rapidly what we have seen. We have seen what is a matter. Anything that has mass and occupies some space is nothing but a matter. Then we have seen what are the atomic theories. Under that we have seen the atomic theory of John Dalton, and it says that atom is made up of matter is made up of atoms, and atoms are indivisible and indestructible. Then theory by J.J. Thomson, he has put forward the plum pudding model. Then atomic theory by Ernest Rutherford, and in that model we have seen the scattering experiment of alpha particles, and here he concluded that the whole mass of the atoms is supposed to be concentrated at the center, and then that center is named as a nucleus. Then atomic theory by James Chadwick, and here it gives rise to the idea of neutron, and he said that electrons could never exist in the nucleus. Then it comes Niels Bohr, he has put forth his postulates and planetary model for the study of atom. And then we have seen what are proton, what are its characteristics, then what are neutron, their characteristics, and what are electron and what are their characteristics. Okay, so I think you all have enjoyed this lecture. So if you like, please hit a like, and if you have any if you want to suggest anything, if you want to ask anything, please mention your questions or suggestion in the comment section box. So thank you to everyone for attending this 5 days bridge course, since it was the very first experiment by me on my own level, and you have responded me so well. I'm glad. Thank you to all of you. So for if you want any further information, you can mail me at thepranutikaune@gmail.com, and I will try to solve your queries and help you at my own level. Thank you again. Thank you very much.